I became very interested in a constellation of problems that was identified by Dr. Gerald Ravens in the mid-1980s, which he called the metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance, and now is also referred to as prediabetes. As I began to appreciate the serious consequences of insulin resistance, I had a tremendous advantage over the clinical researchers who were located in the major medical centers of our country. I have been doing annual physicals for the employees of the police department, fire department, and sheriff department for well over 20 years. So when I would see one of these individuals who had just developed prediabetes or diabetes, I could literally go back 10 or even sometimes 20 years and look at their annual physicals and review their physical findings, like their weight, waist measurement, blood pressure, and then also review their blood work. These observations allowed me to actually begin to diagnose insulin resistance or prediabetes very early on in the course of their disease and actually determine who most likely was going to develop full-blown type 2 diabetes 10 to 15 years before it actually happened. Since your arteries begin aging about a third faster as soon as you tip over into this abnormal metabolic state, it became critical to diagnose this problem of underlying insulin resistance as soon as possible in order to offer my patients the option of establishing healthy lifestyles that actually improved insulin sensitivity and allowed them to tip back into a normal metabolic state. Not only were my patients who applied my principles to their lives able to improve their health and avoid becoming diabetic, but also were able to lose weight effectively and keep it off permanently. So what are some of the early signs of insulin resistance, and do you possibly have any of them? Well, the first thing I look for is elevated blood pressure. I become concerned when your blood pressure is greater than 130/85. The other thing I become concerned with is a low HDL or good cholesterol. I become concerned when a woman has an HDL less than 50 or a man less than 40. Sometimes the only sign of early insulin resistance is a low HDL cholesterol. I also become concerned about a high triglyceride level. I become concerned when this level begins to rise, even if it was still in the normal range. I would always do a ratio and divide their triglyceride level by this HDL or good cholesterol, which is an indirect measure of insulin levels. When anyone develops insulin resistance, they actually increase their insulin production to compensate for this situation. Therefore, I became concerned when their triglyceride to HDL ratio was greater than 2. Now, I also looked at an expanding waist size. I became concerned when a woman's had a waist size greater than 32 to 33 inches and a man had a waist size greater than 36 to 37 inches. I have learned over the years that the earlier you begin treating insulin resistance by firmly establishing healthy lifestyles that actually improve insulin sensitivity, the easier it is to reverse this serious problem. Learning to eat a healthy diet that contains those good, low glycemic carbohydrates, those good fats and good proteins, along with a modest, consistent aerobic exercise program and nutritional supplementation, which all improve your sensitivity to insulin from different mechanisms. My patients who firmly establish all three of these lifestyle changes had amazing results, and many were able to actually tip back into a normal metabolic state and slow down their aging process.
新世纪艾瑞希公司，完美蜕变系统，蜕变你的精彩人生。欢迎点击订阅，加入我们。